Welcome on back to Valorant Challengers. My name is Upmine, joined here by Sully. We have Icebox coming up here for grand finals between Envy and Immortals. But the last map got pretty spicy as Immortals just took away the first map that any team has taken in this tournament from Envy.
Yeah, really big surprise as well on what is arguably Envy's strongest map in their map pool. Obviously, for a long time, they were regarded as one of the best on split in North America, and they proved it time and time again. But Immortals, they are the God Slayers, apparently. First Sentinels, now Envy. The first map goes their way. But here are some amazing highlights. I feel like this, again, in the first half at least, Gus, it was back and forth between the two of them. It was a tug of war. Simple, insane plays turn the tides of these rounds, like Crashy's here with an insane 3K, and then JC Stani. It was the trade potential from Immortals. I said it from the beginning. They are a team that are so good at trading, and this clip right here, I felt like showed that perfectly. Immortals, they stuck together. They went to their game plan. They traded each other out instantly, and I think that's what ultimately won them this map. Now, going into Icebox, this game is heated up, but it's a cold one on Icebox, and it's one of the best that Immortals have in their map pool.
It's cold for Envy at least, because they haven't played Icebox at all in this tournament. They played it only twice in their history, ended up playing it, if I'm not mistaken, the last time that they played it, they lost? Am I correct in saying that? Or did they win against Sentinels?
They lost against Sentinels.
They lost against Sentinel, so I am correct. So at this point, Icebox still very much is a muddied pick for the boys of Envy. So what we were saying before is that these two map picks were really the comfort picks for both of these teams. As Immortals, they played it so much in this tournament. I mean, it's almost unexpected that Icebox would be played so much by a singular team, but that's really the counter stratting, or just the counter picking in general. They are 3-0 in this tournament thus far, and they had only played it once before this tournament. With this brand new lineup, they ended up booting on a little bit newer of a map pool, and of course the three players that ended up staying from before, they had to get adjusted to that. Icebox just so happens to be a great pick for them, and again, I'm anticipating an Immortals win off of this one, but still Envy, although they haven't played Icebox really at all in this one, it's just one of those things with really the VCT where you just want to maintain your best maps anyways. You want the best chance to win, especially in the early rounds where anyone could get upset. Just ask 100 Thieves. You could still go forward now here on Icebox with some strats that you've been developing for the last few weeks, and they still kept it fairly close against Sentinels. This map could be big for Envy to really knock one back on Immortals.
Yeah, we talked about kind of how this is all for seeing to see who gets the bragging rights and the best spot going to the close qualifier. There's still a whole lot at stake to prove that these two teams are still at the top of their game. We talked about kind of saving strats. Well, Envy, they have revealed nothing to the public on Icebox. The last time they played was in the Winter Championships where they lost 13-4. So again, this could be the map where Envy actually surprised all of us. Again, Immortals, they ended up actually taking down Sentinels just the other day, 13-9, and they are 100% win rate so far at Icebox. So again, they're probably the heavy favorites going into this one, but we said the same thing about Split, and we were completely astonished. So we really can't say much here. Now, one pick that actually does seem a little bit peculiar. Apologies, I had it flipped up where we have Immortals on the left, and I was like, oh wait, no, they're on the right. I was gonna say is that Nature picks up the Cypher. I was gonna say that, but there we go. Now we have it flip-flopped. But I guess we can still dive into the Cypher pick. Is that FNS on the Cypher? This is a map that a lot of people have argued in the past is literally specifically designed for Killjoy. That turret can be so useful on the A site and that utility on the B site. So I'm curious to see if FNS has somehow meted the Cypher on this map and how he plans to use it.
Although it's a low amount of statistics that we can really base this off of, Envy, they played Icebox twice. The one time that they played it, I think very much recently, they played it with a Sky and they played it with a Killjoy. That game they ended up losing. The game that they ended up playing with Cypher and Reyna, if I'm not mistaken, mixed in there, that game they ended up winning. So don't know. Again, that seems like semantics to me, but really, Icebox, this is still going to be very much experimental for this team. We're still looking for what would be Envy just pulling out a little bit from their strat book, a little bit more in a sense. But boys, we are actually going to redo Agent Select from what I'm hearing from the producers. So is what it is. We can actually get a deeper look at it as, again, we're still chilling out with Icebox, but what is going to be the future of this set, Sully? Because I still anticipate Immortals taking this, at least taking this 2-0 thus far, but really what would be the future? What are statistics? What would be highlight players to really look out for?
Yeah, well, we obviously saw, at least for highlight players, shot up in chemicals. Those two, we kind of mentioned from the get-go, were the players that really stood out yesterday in Immortals' game against Sentinels. They were the key players. You saw the highlights, shot up with an insane 3K against Sentinels and Icebox. So those players, we kind of saw a very small sample and split. We kind of saw how they kind of struggled just a little bit in the beginning, where they didn't necessarily have those players fragging out. So if they can come alive here again and remain that for the best of the 5 series, they can really come alive. And there it is. There is finally Killjoy. I was going to say, that's kind of concerning that they go for Cypher, but they have swapped it back to Killjoy and Crashies on Sova. I mentioned that they're trying to incorporate Sky in every single map of theirs. Well, this is the one map where they don't want to use Sky.
Okay, Food rarely plays, really, from what we've seen in this tournament, has really played anyone other than Sage. Really in the bigger games, at least. He has pulled out the duelist, but in this one, he actually vouches to go to a Phoenix instead. So that literally switches. This gives us a completely new agent select. So of all 3 times that Envy has played this map, they played it in totally different ways. So no Sage, and instead they're going to be playing Phoenix. So, okay, Envy experimenting a little bit. Definitely with the Phoenix pick, could be a lot more versatile, especially at the very beginning of the rounds and on retakes. So, I'm very much looking forward to seeing really how Envy is going to play out with this dynamic early on in the game, but not too much of a surprise at all for Immortals. No changes. You're still having the Omen, the Sova, the Jet, the Reyna, and the Killjoy. So Immortals, back to basics. It's the map that they haven't lost at all in this tournament, and Envy, they're looking for an Icebox debut here in the VCT.
I'm getting flashbacks already to when they played in First Strike. 13 rounds, or apologies, 12 rounds straight of hitting the A site. And Immortals, in a similar fashion, will kick it off here on A. Great Owl Drone, though, coming in from the back lines from Crashies and shot up straight in their faces. He was key in their victory against Sentinels. But Caboose with this frenzy. He himself's had a couple of highlight plays, and he's just made another 3 kills for Caboose. And Immortals sent packing as they try and recuperate with the last 2 alive.
Ooh, okay. It's certainly trying as hard as Gangsta gets to at the very end of things, but could this be yet another one of those games for Caboose? He starts it off well. Again, most of the frags were pretty easy peasy for him, but a 4 kill to start things off, that gets your confidence rolling.
Yeah, certainly. Caboose pivoting around this back line. And one thing that at least Envy did in their one game against Sentinels is drop that smoke. Caboose kind of sitting behind the gen box. I wonder if maybe they're going to use some Killjoy utility, at least for Immortals. I'd imagine they are going to use it. I don't even say why I'm wondering or I'm thinking. They are going to try and flush him out of that position. And they switched it up here. A doesn't work. Well, let's try and put a little bit of pressure towards the B side. They try for a Nanostorm deep into the B main position. Doesn't work out. FNS forced to back away. But again, pressure here from Mummy. Trying to get something going. And Immortals ultimately back away because of the smokes. They don't have much info. And FNS, he's going to try and play the retake with his team. He's up against pistols. You don't want to give your life up and give one gun that could cause a snowball effect. So Immortals, the site is relatively free, but these rotations come in quick. And now FNS, now that he's got some buddies by his side, he's looking to take a fight.
Ooh, Mummy. Like you mentioned, still taking on that initial contact. And there you go. Gets 2, could potentially get a 3rd. And there you go. Again, just easy cleanup frags anyways. But it's lovely to see Mummy back on the kill tally as FNS actually with a couple of bullets through the box. Gonna take down Gangsta. So light round from Envy. No issues at all, with only really one player needing to reinvest back into this bonus round in a sense. But they want to take this bonus a little bit more aggressively in a sense with the one player that they have remaining. Food ends up dropping down the Bulldog over towards Caboose, and Food ends up buying a Vandal. So interesting stuff. But the rifles are back for Immortals, and it's called a bonus for a reason, folks. If Envy wins this one, it's free rounds for them.
Yep. We'll see if they can maybe get it. You mentioned Food on it. Looking for early control for this ult sword. They're trying to vie for it early on, but Food is not going to be the one to take it. Instead, he's gotten extremely aggressive. Pushing this issue very far forward. A great smoke. Hot hands to, again, maintain this control. Now, can they win the fight towards top of belt? Well, Food takes a flash, but takes a recon bolt to the body, and now he's been paranoid off. He's able to escape at the very least, but Immortals, great retake of A main control. However, FNS ready for a fast flank, and Food chops ahead of Chemicals off, and Immortals now, with this one player going down, they're going to try and slow things down and recuperate once more.
So the Vandal comes up big early. Love to see that, at least, especially at a very optimal angle. Good smoke from Caboose. Had to at least maneuver a little bit to get away from that recon bolt. But again, good smoke. These players still have very much a clue that Caboose is there. They had full line of sight of where the smoke was coming from. So they're still watching out for where Caboose could be. But he actually teleports away back into rafters, anticipating players to actually potentially walk through that smoke. So very well done by Caboose. It's a good little flow chart in a sense. But Immortals still very slowly making their way onto this A site, as Envy actually, they're still maintaining things fairly even throughout the map, but in comes the actual take from Immortals. They're gonna be able to get this plant down. Caboose still on top, same thing with Shot Up, taking one back onto Crashies. Good angle from Food, still two in this back line. What? Food with a couple of shots through the wall. He certainly should not be alive, but now FNS, the last person remaining in 1v3 with nothing but a stinger, and he walks out right into the crosshair of JC Stanny. JC Stanny should have been dead a while ago, but I guess if you're JC Stanny, we take those if I'm not mistaken, it was 2 headshots from the Vandal through the wall, but again, it is what it is. Immortals, they go down in terms of man, though, at the very end of things. So still a very heavy reinvestment going into this round, but yeah, Envy, well done.
Try on the site hold. Immortals pressuring that left side. You see how Envy going back to that smoke that Caboose drops earlier, putting a lot of emphasis at least on the right hand of sight, at least from attackers POV, is that they want to control that area, and Immortals, they recognize it. They send the first player up, Shot Up into the nest to try and find an early pick, and Envy, they're not able to deal with the pressure on the left side. Now moving forward though, Immortals at least, they keep 3 players alive in that one. Only 2 reinvestments. We talked about Food having to buy up, and now he's at least got to run it back. Does he have the gun to back it up? I didn't catch that really quickly. Shot Up. For a nice headshot here. Dancing around. Oh, Gangsta getting maybe a little bit too aggressive. Apologies, that's Crashies. Immortals not able to get to control. They're going to back away, but you do at least have Chemicals scouting out this A site on top of Belt. At least you're now seeing nobody in the back lines of sight.
Still nothing of the sort just yet, but Envy actually has a good line of sight over towards that A site, as Immortals has mostly made their way over. 4 players in the back line, quite a bit of util to make their way on. Not a lot of ultis to really help them out, but actually the run it back could help them out on the front lines. Here comes Food, has a little bit of space to work with, but he's gonna have to run it all the way back as Chemicals gets himself 2 massive frags. Now, Envy, 3 players remaining, and Crashies takes one back on site onto JC Stanny. That's 2 for him thus far. Not only has he equalized the round, but he's taking it forward as now Food gets one back. Chemicals needs to ace to win the round, and oh boy, he could pull it off. A quick smoke towards the left side, and Chemicals actually wants to use, oh boy, the blade storm around the corner, but Crashies is there. What a retake from Crashies. Taking 3 away for him. FNS is there with a defuse and a whole lot of pressure on the back lines. Envy now 3-1 over Immortals, right as Immortals was starting to develop.
Yeah, huge round for Envy. You talked about Food on that run it back. That was massive. You saw again how Immortals wanted to pressure that left side of sight, at least from their perspective. You already threw Chemical up in the nest, players pushing forward. And because of that, at least run it back, it forced players away from that side, gave at least Crashies that chance for that double kill. You talk about how he went massive, but initially it's Food that creates all that space for Crashies and allows Envy to get back into that site confidently. And now Immortals, that confidence, like you said, it's going to be drained. They had something going, but with Envy riding right back after their bonus, this one gets a little bit tricky. Lack of firepower, lack of manpower, at least on this A side, as 3 players start to rotate. Early contact, and Immortals riding true on this A side. Shot Up able to stop Caboose before he gets away, and down goes Number to try and contest.
A smoke within a smoke. Classic. Okay, nothing can stop him at this point. The double right clicks, and if it weren't for that oh my god, if it weren't for that Hunter's Fury, would have been able to really get anything off of that. So, but instead, now Crashies with a 3K at the end. It's pure chaos here, Sully, as Envy was truly up against the ropes. Crashies, 3K at the end. Immortals at the man advantage. They had positional advantage too, and not only that, but I mean, Immortals still with space to work with, still with utility at the end of things, but you really have to give it to Mummy at the end of things, as Crashies, he was only able to get into that position because of the frags early on.
My gosh, huge play. It went back and forth, like you said. A double kill from Mummy, and then a double kill back from Gangsta with a Hunter's Fury. Envy, a very close one, but they are able to just barely get by with 2 players remaining, and now Immortals, we're on an eco, so here's their full buy. That was an effective round, all things considered. And Mummy, he's picked up the operator. We saw what he could do once with how momentum shifting he could be, but he doesn't take the peek. Chemicals, I think at least is aware of his positioning, but Mummy goes for the drop. These are the many, many angles you've got to contest with. And while Chemicals is able to escape, dropping down, he doesn't get a lot of control here. Mummy's going to start to press forward, but these players in tube, there are so many players wary of it. Food watching the bridge, or at least the backside to spawn. And then you at least have FNS on the site. Again, huge setup here, or at least from FNS. He gets the info being made. Food gets the kill. He can back away. And FNS, he's got reinforcements on the way. Immortals are starting to take a tumble down the B-bomb site as Envy locking things in place. It's a 5 versus 2 with Chemicals and Gangsta to try and clutch.
With a quick alarm bots, not only that, but the nano swarm, Envy was more than ready for this B site hold. There you go. FNS still on the front lines, dude. Little cheeky one onto Gangsta. No Chemicals, last one remaining in a 1v5. All these players are essentially right around him, and he walks into the crosshairs of 3 players at the end of it. Envy, for a team that doesn't play Icebox, they're looking good.
Yeah, Envy are looking dominant, at least on the defense. Mummy pivoting around that up. They see the up, they go B. Now in this one, at least, lockdowns from both sides. I don't think we're going to see it pulled out, though, for Immortals. I mean, it's essentially going to be a half buy. Vandal for Chemicals. Shotup's picked up a sheriff. Who knows what he can do with that? But Envy, they themselves have started to charge up a couple of ults. Run it back, right back online for Food. Hunter's Fury for Crashies. The lockdown. Now, how do they play around this? I could see investments being made. Again, Immortals, with whatever gun they've got, they can be extremely deadly with it. It is FNS getting in this. Smoke is going to take the first frag and back away.
They start to back off, but Food still on the run it back. Want to essentially get one last try at it. One last at bat, but again, nothing for him. So Immortals still, though, restricted in terms of space. They have one massive opportunity to open things up on the B site, but I mean, you got to really pay attention to Envy's formation at this point. They were more than ready. If any players from Immortals pop out over towards the B site, 4 players around this site, right as Immortals were more or less attempting it. But even then, with just about 50 seconds left, they're on the rotation back.
Yeah, FNS still holding that connector area. He at least allows Envy to make really quick rotations. And they don't have to go through spawn. They can just make a quick shot straight through mid, at least for the hands of Food. So FNS on a very quick flank. Lockdown available for both sides. A Hunter's Sphere if they want to try and deny the spike plan, but Chemicals, he's pushing forward. I talked about how they love to pressure this back lines in Caboose. Too many places to look at and only 2 eyes. Immortals, got 1 player, but how do they hold on to it now? Mummy with a bare pixel of Nature's Head rips it off, and Immortals, they're down to just 3 here as Envy have the man advantage moving forward.
And I love it. Even in a more dynamic eco, they could still have a little bit of a chance. Mame dashes right into coverage, but FNS and Food, what a massive flank. JC Stanley, last person remaining now in a 1v3, and you are about to get a double peek in that back line. Wonderfully coordinated. Again, Mame, he did what he did, but the rest of Envy, they're not exactly worried about it. They sweep away the rest of the round, and, well, they just dodge a heart attack.
Yeah, there's FNS on that flank. Talked about how him controlling that mid position allowed Food to make a quick rotation for it alongside FNS, who was kind of waiting. That's what Envy were kind of banking on. They do end up saving the lockdown, which is going to be huge in this one. But again, both sides have it. However, I think at least with Crashies having his Hunter's Fury charged up, it can easily be disabled here. Here's again that flank. Food and at least FNS coming in at the perfect moment. Great flash as well from Food. So Immortals, like you said, Gus, Envy, for a team that doesn't play Icebox, they are looking good. Again, going back to it, saving strategies. Well, they have no strategies, at least to the apparent public. So Envy, this is kind of a blank sheet for them, and they're looking really good. We do have, I think, attack pause, at least for Immortals, to sort things out now.
And think about this, right? If Envy doesn't really go towards the attacking side, what is there to study? Huh? Exactly. That's big in terms of future VOD reviewing. But if we're being completely honest, folks, again, Envy, they're still taking this as seriously as possible. Immortals, they, in a sense, they've been going quite, at times, isolated at the very beginning of the rounds. It's almost like they're getting desperate for the entries. And Envy, I mean, there's really nothing else that I can say other than they're just getting a good job of winning out the 1v1s. Immortals, they get left in these weird positions round after round where they just keep trying different things in their strat book, as they are actually in this round. Double coverage over towards tunnels with a teleport back, shot up alone in tunnels once again, but Immortals aren't exactly making any ground, really any sights. So this is really just depending on the mid contact and just seeing what they can get.
Curveball ready as well now. He's again, I love how Envy are putting an emphasis here towards mid. It's something that a lot of teams have struggled with in the past, is vying for mid control for both sides, at least in Envy. They've done a really good job of getting control. The turret, he will take it down. That reveals his position. But when does the lockdown come in? There it is now. But again, Hunter Spirit to try and disable. They're holding on to it. They're not going for it initially. The spike will be going down here. And there goes that lockdown for the opposing side. Envy now in a 4v5, but they lost a big piece of their retake. The ultimate of the lockdown now gone.
No ulti. Hunter's Fury wasn't used to evade the spike plant, so instead now they have to depend on the frags, and indeed they are. Massive swing from Crashies taking down Shot Up. JC standing in such a pivotal position up top, but Mame covering every sort of option. Defuse isn't exactly going down just yet. Still taking their time. Still waiting for that util to go up, and again, they still have a smoke that hasn't dissipated just yet, but even then, it's gonna be Crashies on the front lines again. What is up with Crashies in these post plants? He has been so critical, so pivotal to all of these rounds where Envy have just been exploiting Immortals. No matter what site they have, no matter what post plant positions they're taking, it's Crashies in that round that ends up getting them 3. Mame with good coverage. It's the Brazil-Germany scoreline of 7-1. Although my heart pains me to say this, Envy, they're looking for a massive end to this half.
Dude, they are looking sharp. Crashies currently 11-1. The dude is popping off. Immortals, this is not a good look, especially on your map pick. We said there was always going to be unpredictability in these first 2 maps, but nothing of this caliber. Envy keeping the pressure on, and here's the first attempt at deep pick, at least for Immortals. FNS spotted out, but Mummy's there to reinforce. Huge Hunter Fury as well to force the players into his line of sight. Mummy able to pick up a second. Nice clean shot. Might get a third here as well. Nature might walk into it. Oh, Mummy. I thought he was going to have that one, but Nature catch him looking the wrong way. Now, how do they adjust? 4v2. It's Shot Up in Nature. It might have just been Shot Up at FNS, hadn't been able to connect those shots. He's still pivoting around at least the yellow box. This is so difficult here for Immortals with a minute left.
Oh, wait a minute! You gotta hold your tongue, Sully, because Nature is here again! I keep calling him an impact fragger, right? I keep going back to it, but that's exactly what it is. The lineup, the 1-2 combo, has a couple of foreheads to aim at, and they all just walk into him. Immortals now in a 2-on-2 in what seemed like a dead and gone situation. Now with the lockdown, once again, he could surely capitalize on what is these last 2 Envy players wrapped around this site, and that's great coverage. Caboose is going to be able to watch over towards Long, though. Going to be able to watch out that rotation in. Shot Up still waiting on site. He's the one with the spike. He's the one waiting out for a little bit of space. Caboose with a spam that could be able to find anything, but instead with a smoke up, still a difficult scenario as he doesn't have any info. This is as even as you can get. Caboose still has to capitalize on a frag back, but he's gonna try to go for the info play off the teleport. And not only that, but a flank in for food. It's gonna come in at a very pivotal time, but the alarm bot goes off and Shut Up catches him. No way did Nature think of that earlier. Now Shut Up gets the kill back, and Immortals, after a massive performance from Nature, not only with the frags, but with the util even, Immortals takes at least one back in the half.
I can't believe I just casted Cursed Envy. As soon as I stopped talking, the
Immediately.
Immortals come up with a huge 2-piece. I mean, Mummy, it looks so good for him, but Nature, this is a massive. They literally line up for him. And then the post-plant position, alarm bot in the back, Shot Up pivoting around. Perfectly done here for Immortals in the 2v5. It truly doesn't get better than that. And now they've got a second round. If there was ever a round to get them back into this game, it had to be that one. But does this momentum continue? FNS, the guardian of the B sites, Alarm bot posted, at least for the entrance to the back of the yellow box, but FNS, he's creeping on around. But how is he spotted? I think Galladron just barely nicked his head and shot up. He's trying to capitalize on it. Gangsta can't connect any of these Hunter Fury shots, so Envy, they concede at least the B site, but Immortals, they don't continue pushing forward. They still have Chemicals, who has taken down, I think, at least Caboose to a sliver of HP, pushed up so heavily on the A site. They've drawn so many rotations already.
Still Chemicals looking out for really any sort of luck over towards the A site, and with still a minute left, Immortals haven't exactly shown face. This run it back might run into a couple of players. Oh, they're playing, again, I mentioned Ring Around the Rosie before, and they play it out perfectly. Not only that, but Chemicals! No way Crashies was there anticipating that. The drop was his, and not only that, but Shot Up can't get the pick back. Not only that, but a Turret Ups are really distracted. Not only that, but act as a meat shield. That's wonderfully done by FNS. JC Stanley takes back food. FNS somehow still alive. Mame looking through a smoke. Might have actually gotten a ping off of it to try to get a frag back, but instead now, Mame with the knives, with the Blade Storm, gets another one. 2v4 for Immortals. Nature, he pulled a miracle off just the round before, but this one seems almost improbable. Oh my god, no way. No way. I just caster cursed them too. Immortals, they still have a chance now with Nature going off. He does it again! Nature gets himself too! FNS now, 30 HP, get up to find Nature. Ring Around the Rosie, so much time being chucked off the clock. This man is Mr. Fourth Quarter himself. I don't care if it's Shanks, I don't care if it's anyone else. Nature, he comes up strong for Immortals right when they need him every single time. Massive round from Nature.
Back-to-back clutches. A 1v3 essentially, and Nature pulls it out of his back pocket. It's like he's got four core aces up his sleeve. Nature, how many times do we have to say it? It's improbable for Immortals, but Nature's the X factor. Comes up massive, pivots around that B-side ball insanely well. And Envy, they are stunned. Back-to-back insane plays, and Nature does it again. He will be stopped by the Nano Storm, but Shot Up, he's already got the ground he was looking for. Pushed up so deep. And Immortals, there's a pressure back here from Food. He's like, okay, we got to get rid of this guy. See how aggressive I can get? Well, he's got one. Backs away and is safe for now, but Chemicals is what awaits him. This is the Immortals that we needed. It took them a minute, but here they are now, and they've got a 4v4, but FNS, again, controlling mid. What can he get from this? As they've left the B site essentially completely open, Crashies and FNS are the only players in contest, and they do have only a little bit of utility to try and deny a plant.
It's still something for them to work with. They still need Crashies on sites. Essentially, it's a very pivotal time to really accompany that utility more than anything. Once that alarm bot goes off, he's still going to have that explosion of the Nanoswarm grenade, and indeed he goes out. But Immortals still biding their time. Like I mentioned before, Crashies has to be in a perfect spot, and indeed he's there. Nature now with the plant. Still JC standing back with a kill. In comes Shot Up. Takes one down into FNS. Still Mame. He could go absolutely massive in this position. And indeed he gets himself one, but not more than one. Caboose 1v2, 9 HP. It's looking improbable, like I said before, but no way. Oh, he dies to the turret! Around the corner, he gets the wide swing out the Shot Up, and it's anticlimactic. I thought Nature was there for the wide swing. I'm just like, okay, Nature, he did it again. But instead, it was the turret that does the dirty work for him, and now Immortals, after a 7-1 deficit, climbing back with 7-4. And now we actually have some SMGs from MV. They've actually been restricted down in terms of economy for the first time in this half, Sully.
Yeah, this is the first in a while, Envy. And it's the last round of the half, so it's not the best position to be in. Nature, of course, he has the lockdown charged up. Now they're going to head towards this A side where it's most effective. Try and get early control, but here's an early play. Caboose, I think, TP'd forward. He even has food around him, so Caboose, such a great position, but a great owl drone to flush him out. He is stuck. How does he get out of this one? He has one TP left, a smoke to allow him to leave. Safe for now, but the lockdown available. FNS on a fast flank. There's no turret behind them as well. This is going to get dicey. It's all up to FNS. A huge flank, but a turret dropped, and now they know. They realize the flank is coming on in, and this lockdown's pushed them out. They're clearing the back of the fight, and there goes the first. Mummy goes down, and Immortals, they have control, and Nature's got the flank covered. It's a 5v3, and Envy need this one to make it 8.
Oh, JC Standy is going to be able to get 2 free ones right through the smoke, and Immortals now. The site that they were struggling with all this half, they're able to pick it apart one by one. So there you go. Envy, we're looking good, and they still look good. They have the 2-round advantage going into the second half, but now Immortals, comfortably speaking, they go their way into the defensive half with a whole lot of momentum. And the man, the myth, the legend, Nature has 11 kills under his belt.
Jeez, Nature. What was it 2 4Ks basically back to back? Exactly what you need. I mean, it was a great opening as well from Immortals, like you said, 7-1. It was an insane scoreline to kick things off, and then Immortals climb it back with 4 in a row to at least end the half at a decent scoreline. Now they're on the defense. If Nature's that good on the offense as a killjoy, we'll see what he can do here on the defensive side. As Immortals find themselves pressuring mid intensely. Chemicals and Shot Up take the early peek. They see nothing. The Recon Bolt gives them nothing. And instead, Envy headed towards this B side with the spike. 3 players grouped up. FNS to watch the late lurks mid. And Chemicals might be thinking to cross there. He is controlling this position as it will cut off the major rotations. Envy slow things down with a smoke in their face as they wait for it to dissipate. Immortals dance between the sites. 3 here. Alarm bot and a nanostorm to deny the spike plant. But a minute left and Envy starting to ramp up the pace. There's the first peek, and Shot Up will drop and play with his team now.
Yes, to 10 HP. That's a massive peak early on. Chemicals. Ooh, they do them one better. We saw a headshot earlier.
There's another.
Onto the same player on top of a turret, and almost literally we see the same situation go back for Immortals. So, I mean, it didn't do too much damage. It did go through either the turret or the wall, but whatever you can do, I can do better, I guess. Immortals now. They have 3 players around this A site as Envy. They start up their take. Huge paranoia. That's going to halt things as Chemicals actually now has time to reload, and JC Standy is here to clean up. How on earth did he get 2 headshots out of that? And he's most likely going to clean up this last one. Of course he is. 3K for JC Standy. Immortals down a player early. They're still able to hold down that A choke point with absolute ease. Envy now in shambles as they have to go down to an eco, and Immortals now with the SMGs and a Bulldog. They can tie up the game.
Yeah, you talked about that huge paranoia. Catches basically everybody completely blind as Envy try to get that push set up, and Immortals caboose not ready for with his own paranoia, and JC Standy with a massive swing going huge. Immortals now 6-7. There was a point in time where Envy again up 7-1. Now next thing you know, 5 rounds in a row, and they have got 1 round between the 2 of them. Immortals early spot from Nature sees so much. He backs away. Shot Up is here now. The deadly combo, but where is Chemicals? That's what you want to see here, but it is just 2 for now. Blaze Wall goes up, a tiny gap for Caboose. As Food looks to vie for control early on, Shot Up, hit by a paranoia, is forced to back away by his own teammates. Nanostorm and Nature ready for Food. The spike, it will not go down as it's nowhere near the site, and Shot Up peaks for a second.
These players from Envy, there was way too much opening between the site and the actual players in the back, and oh my, the 1-2 spray coming in from Shot Up. That's wonderful, especially with a stinger. I mean, it takes a little bit of time for that spray to actually reset, and well, he nails it. Wonderfully done. But Immortals now, more importantly, they maintain that at least that buy round flawless. So it's that same dynamic as we saw before. This is a true bonus, Sully.
Yeah, no players going down, and all SMGs as well. I really don't have anything to lose going into this one. Envy though back with a full buy at least. Not much you could do there. Really well pivoted, at least from Nature and Shot Up on that B site, dancing around those boxes, doing a phenomenal job. Now Envy with the buy back. How can they respond? Immortals, they would love to get this round, and Shot Up already getting aggressive. He's gonna get spotted though. Tricky predicament to be in. They don't know if he's crossed. Well, never mind. Mummy's now watching the cross. And a nanostorm to at least keep them back, and Shot Up. Don't do it to them. Shot Up with 1. Just missing on out of there as well. Now he's back to safety, and he wants another kill. Crashies will evade him at the very least. And gun through onto the map. This Food able to pluck one from this A side. He's gotten so aggressive that I haven't even noticed. And now he's got control here, Gus. Envy in a 3v3, and it's Food that opens things up.
Oh, here we go. Food now on that front line. Still watching over towards heaven. Immortals certainly taking their time on the rotate, especially with the spike not being planted yet. And by the time it does, 2 people on site, another person really just looking out for a couple of lurks, could actually be able to flank on, but instead shot up. He's gonna group up with his teammates back onto the A site, and now Food actually with a run it back wants to approach immediately. Wow, Nature. A slick headshot immediately. Still shuts down that momentum. Shot up now with a stinger. No way he gets anything off of this. Crashy's able to take down Nature, and Food just runs right into Shot Up. Now Shot Up now in a 1v2. These 2 players are just playing out time. He goes right onto ropes. 8 HP now for Shot Up. He needs to run. Indeed he does. Still has to go for the spike.
He might get it. He might get it.
Oh my
he got
God,
it.
He did it. He actually did. What on earth was that from Shot Up? Nothing but a stinger and a hope. Envy, they got a little bit too confident. First person on the wide swing. Second person goes down on ropes. And Shot Up with absolute ease. He makes his way back on site. But you gotta think, he's so slick, so quick, and barely a pixel, barely a millisecond after that plant, he ends up going down. Now that's what you love to see from the top fragger of Immortals. Shot Up one around.
So smart with that Lear as well. It forces Crashies to go full blind into the peak. The dude is Giga Brain. Immortals saved by the bell, literally.
1000 IQ.
Literally last second, and now look at what it's put them into. Chemicals already with an early peak. They're riding the high. I kind of counted them out when it was 7-1. Well, I brought them back in. The spike, it's headed towards the opposite side of the map, and there's nobody there to help him. It's literally just FNS trying to play a solo lurk. There's so much contest here on this A site. Shot Up, he's dropped down. He wants more blood, and he spotted the leg of Mummy. Nothing you can do. Everything here is on the B site, however, and FNS. Caboose has picked up a rifle. This is a free spike plane, and Caboose, it comes down to him to cut off these rotations.
Caboose could go absolutely massive in this position.
He has to.
Oh, absolutely. Envy. They put almost everything that they had into this round, especially off of such a debilitating loss. He hasn't caught anyone just yet, but that's more information for Gangsta. Not only that, but he's still going to be able to catch FNS off the Owl Drone. But now Caboose just taking a sweet time.
Oh my gosh.
Oh, Caboose could go absolutely massive. Indeed, he at least gets one. But the double peak coming in from Rafters is going to finish it off. And Immortals, again, a little bit of a heart attack for us here on the Observer side of things. But for Immortals, it looked easy peasy. It's going to be 9-7. As they extend their lead, and now Envy, they start scratching their heads.
Yeah, definitely. Head scratchers all around. They will have to buy back, but the money's starting to dwindle. They'll be on the last or max loss bonus, so they won't have to worry about that whatsoever. Currently, it's Immortals that have brought things 8 rounds in a row. You cannot break this defense. You see the armor encapsulated well. They've encased themselves. They've at least encased its offensive map with the full set of armor. Now Envy, with this buyback, they have to try and contest. Early control towards the B side. It's at least going to be an peak in Chemicals. I got so scared they were going to line up there, and Shot Up off of that play has gotten aggressive, and of course he gets a kill. 5v3 instantly as Immortals regain control, and they dance around the map with these rotations.
And again, put that into perspective. Who on earth gets so aggressive over in tunnels like that?
Always going to be
especially
Shot
on the
Up.
Defensive side. It's only Shot Up, right? It's only gotta be him, and he's still going for it. Did he just walk by?
Oh my gosh.
He just walks by, crashes, and he still has an opportunity for another if he knows that Food is here. Not only that, but he dismisses away, and he's safe. Oh, man. Unreal.
But it was Food, though. It was Food, though, in the last that opened up at least the A site for Envy.
Right.
He's done it here on B. But they have no spike. That's the problem in FNS. He's
Yeah, no
basically out
spike.
in the middle of nowhere, but he can cut off
FNS?
rotation. FNS, can he get 2? He gets 1. He can't find the second. Oh, Chemicals able to back away. He nearly had 2. That would have been a game changer, at least a round changer. Now Food up top. He's gone down. And FNS, no spike. And he's in a 1v3 now.
Oh.
Clean.
Clean from JC Stanny. Again, Food could have definitely opened things up, especially over towards that bathroom area that would have restricted things down to the 2-on-2. So that was still looking very much competent for Envy. But again, that spike being back in their spawn, that's That's a beginner's type mistake that ends up happening. But again, it was because they were playing default early on in the round, and they ended up getting completely broken apart by shot up in a sense. So again, that's really where defaults can come back to really bite you. And Immortals now reaching double digits. They still have to face on yet another rifle round from the boys of Envy. But look how tight that angle is for Chemicals. Absolutely needed that one. But Shut Up again, delaying that dismiss, making his way away at the perfect time. But Food, essentially fully blind, able to get that kill. But now crashes with the Hunter's Fury. Searching for a couple of players on site, not going to be able to find anything. And that does allow a little bit of time for the boys of Envy to make their way away as more noise just keeps being made on this side. But watch out, Nature has full eyes on B, but he's the solo man here.
And Caboose is here as well now.
Caboose is here to at least help, but it's going to take a little bit of time before really his effect starts to be felt. But wow, Caboose with a peek. Well timed, and now he can open things up really with a kill onto JC Stanny, but it's not going to happen. Spray on through the box, not able to get too much damage, so instead now it's a 3-on-3.
Yeah, this is going to be so difficult. Run it back is for Food as well to take an early swing. He's going to play all the contact. He's going to draw the attention, but it actually forces them to swing one direction, and they're going to be swinging into the head of the smoke. Food with a run it back, though. He's going big, but he's gone home. They tried, but he got sent all the way back around the banana box, and now with 2 versus 3, at least Crashies to salvage something, but Food, 35 HP, has done his job. Mummy up top, and it's just Gangsta. They've got nothing here, and may as well Gangsta go for the swing. There's nothing you can do, though. Envy taking 8th, and Immortals, finally, they'll be put in their place after 9 rounds in a row. Envy have something to show for it, but Envy, they still have to battle with the credits, as Immortals have got enough in them for another bye.
So some life back into them, especially, again, just playing with the minds of Immortals back towards that A side. That was really, at least the initial seed place to the round, but after that, Envy still with very good control of that B side, especially with that opening from Caboose. Now Immortals, they're not exactly too discouraged just yet. Instead, they're actually going to leave 3 over towards that A side, and come on, Shut Up. Still so deep into the mid side. It was still trying his luck, because why not? But Envy now, they have a whole lot of options. They're playing one on a lurk over towards the B side, waiting to see if anyone actually wants to flank at that B main area. Yep. But instead, the rest of Envy still over on A with Immortals. They're playing a very similar formation to this Envy team. It just so happens to be that it's the 1-on-1 over on B and a 4-on-4 on A. So this could get interesting.
Yeah, lockdowns available for both sides as well. Envy.
Ooh.
His FNS to try and creep up towards B. Maybe he's going to try and sell a solo fake. But even then, if at least they hold on to this, at least Nature holds on to that lockdown, right, on the A side. If he doesn't use it to retake B, they can retake, I mean, the A side at any point. And yeah, rotations are being drawn. And it's going to have to be Chemicals that has to stick around. And yep, FNS, he sells the fake. They draw them all the way over here. Now it's up to Nature. Does he use the lockdown? But there is still one player. I didn't even realize Stanny, he's got to go big, but he's going home this time around. Caboose guns him down. There should have been no chance he gets anything there. And yep, he does get nothing. JC Stanny down, and Immortal still with the lockdown, though, for this retake.
Still very much slow, but with the spike down, pressure starts to mount. Immortals, they still have the lockdown, but with all these players from MB already in that back line, there's really no use for it unless you get a lockdown a little bit closer to things. Oh, and indeed they do. They try to make as much space as possible on site, and it's essentially right in the middle. All these players, they have to back up essentially into heaven. This is such a massive lockdown, but they actually have to get the defuse first. In they go, pretty much Olaf style, going right into the volley. Nature with 2, gonna make it 3. No, Gangsta gets it instead, but it blows up at the very end. Oh my, what a fight for it, and it was well timed out by Immortals. It went down to the wire, but Envy, they play their cards right. They play the time game right. And, I mean, Immortals, they threw everything at Envy to try to win that round.
Yeah, Chemicals was the one player on this spike, and I think it's Food that goes gunning for him. Literally, last second, that Food gets the kill onto Chemicals. Huge, huge kill on Immortals. Both sides using their lockdowns. Now, how are they going to try to build this one back up? Immortals. A round that should have been theirs. They threw everything at them, like you said, but they couldn't hold it back. It took one kill at the last second, and Immortals, I think it's a critical hot hands as well for Food to try and delay that spike. And there's finally the notice of aggression. Shot Up has gone down, and Immortals, for the first time in a while, they seem a little bit shocked. They seem a little bit stagnant, and Food continued to aggress as he takes down JC Stani. Envy are right back into this game.
Ooh, okay. Quick flash in the background. But yeah, no, well done by Envy. Especially keeping a round like this clean would still help out with momentum, but more importantly, economy is not going to get too affected going forward. But
I thought you could line something up there.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Especially with the lineup. We've seen few too many of those in the last few days.
Sure.
Far too many heart attacks. But yeah, nothing of the sort for now. 2 teams now at double digits here on Icebox. And I mentioned before, right, that Envy doesn't exactly play this map all too much. With the map still being fairly new, I get it. But going into this tournament, you would expect, at least in VCT, maybe an Icebox pick here or there, but they've been insta-banning it every time. Considering that this is actually their debut on this map thus far, I mean, they're looking very impressive, Sully.
Yeah, Envy shocking us at least now. Big improvement from the last time they played Sentinels. Now Immortals. Shot up top. JC Stani not too far, and JC Stani wants that early peek. Food on a run it back. How much space can he get? Caboose from nowhere in Food with a swing. Immortals dismantled once more. Envy pull the plug on them, and now it's just 2.
About to become just 1 now. Oh my. Quick flank is now. Player in mid is down to extremely low HP, and that's going to be Chemicals finally going down. Quick miss, actually, from Mame. Nature in a 1v4. Taking a sweet time, in a sense, trying to see if anyone actually wants to peek out towards him. Still, these last few players in very good post-playing positions in terms of time wasting, and indeed, FNS is going to be there for it. Nature really popping off in terms of frags in this game, but not going to be able to get more than 1. So Immortals, I mean, that entire round was lost within really 20 seconds, because after that, they were restricted down to the 2 players. It was fat rotations. Envy had full control of backside too. That was well done by Envy.
Buy is going to be a little bit weak here for Immortals as well. Everyone on light shields, Chemicals with Stinger and heavy shields at least. Immortals, where's that 9-10 round streak gone? Envy bring it right back, 3 in a row for themselves. Shot up. Posted up for the Vandal. Mame destroys the recon bolt. Running early info, but there's a big Hunter series coming out. Gangsta running down range. Only able to get 1 shot connected. And on the other side, Crashy still has his, and FNS playing this late lurk, trying to catch anybody pushing, and Chemicals might walk into it. They're now 2 players here. He just caught 1. And Mummy on the opposite side. Envy, even with all this early control, even with these early picks, they don't care about A. It's all just a fake. And how many times have they done this? 2 rounds now that they've completely fluked down Immortals, and Chemicals all on his lonesome has to go big here.
Back towards him. And again, big in the sense that he can realistically only get 1 out of this. And not only that, but if he emerges through the smoke, he could just get 1. Quick dash, and he makes his way away. Of course he gets himself 2. It's just how Chemicals is, isn't it? With a spike trying to go away. Still fully in the control of Envy, but wow, oh wow. Chemicals just opened up the round.
Slipping back and forth. We'll see if he can get a little bit more.
Oh.
Gassed up already. Down goes another swarm. They've delayed this spike plant for so long. They're watching for the mid lurk, and Nature not going to escape. It's just down to Chemicals. 2, and they can deny it. He's going for the big kill, and they've got it through the box. Immortals on a shaky buy have tied it up 11-11. Absurd stuff from Chemical, sliding back and forth like he's got Vaseline all over him. And my
like
gosh, he's between them all. I cannot believe Chemicals does this.
So slick, like baby oil even. Oh my, Chemicals. I mean, you gotta be kidding me, especially with that one onto Mame. And not only that, but Gangsta essentially with just this spam right through the box. Finally gets a headshot in the end. So Sully, I mean, I don't know if we can emphasize this enough, but that was an eco from Immortals. I mean,
half by even.
That's a huge, yeah, half by even. Massive round for the boys of Immortals, but there's still a whole lot more work to be done. As Envy, they still have the buyback for realistically the rest of the game. And this time, Envy, they're essentially seeping away the tempo, seeping away that pressure. They're just chilling now in a little bit of a default. Spike all the way back in their spawn, and all of these players just looking for an initial pick to open things up. This B-side's very loose, too.
Yeah, one player there. It is just going to be Chemicals, but he has the op again. He's been so good, but look at Caboose. Look at this lurk. He's all the way up there. I think the alarm bot might actually give him away here. No, he dodges it completely.
No,
Nature
he's fine.
might be walking into this one. He's got his back turned. He's got two. One, two, free kills. And Immortals. Oh, it's back and forth. The crumbling once more. Dipped into milk like an Oreo. They're broken. Envy. 5 versus 2 here. Caboose looking for a little bit more. Third kill is his. What do you even do here for your shot off? He's on the Empress, and there's an alarm bot. He's good for one. Instant trade back in Envy. Immortals, they're starting to fall apart here in the later stages. It's match point here for Envy now.
I would like to think that Oreo's got to sponsor you now after that one. But yes, Envy. 12-11 scoreline after Caboose. I mean, no eyes over towards mid for the boys of Immortals. Essentially, everyone was still looking over towards that A side. They've been holding up a 4-1 split between A and B almost every single time that there's really any pressure or any sort of noise from Envy on A. So still, it has been very effective. But the one thing that they haven't accounted for really at all is just a simple lurk in bathroom. The one round that is pulled off gives Envy now the map points. Chemicals needs to go absolutely massive here, and he does. Oh, that was a round-changing interaction if Caboose was able to get that one. But now Chemicals is going to keep Envy on their toes with only 4 players remaining now. But Crashies, he's on a lurk of his own. He's making his way up mid. Nobody spotted him, but there's still a couple of players. No, he's here for the sound, too. This is huge. He could catch people going in towards that mid position, catch off how many people are walking out behind him. This is such a good information play from Crashies. As, again, there's 2 over towards the B side, and as that starts to stack up, Crashies could start to really rack on the kills for Envy and make this take a whole lot easier.
Yeah,
with
he's
45 seconds left.
Down to mid. He's got everything going for him. There's nothing they can do here. Immortals, they're going to try and rotate mid. They think they have this control. Not once have Envy contested this. It's only been Caboose lurking around, and this is big. Crashies, they don't go around him. Lockdown goes in. Nature dancing around, and here comes Crashies. He might have Chemicals back turned and shot up. He's creeping on out here, but it's Crashies again. He has to go huge. Lockdown finally triggered. Nobody caught off guard, and Crashies love everybody to his woes. Mummy with 1. Nature goes down. The spike already in. What can they do? Crashies with 1. Crashies with 2. He might just get 3, and he might have just won the round. Shot up in the clutch. It's down to just 2, and they're both around the box here. How does he pull this one out? He's got 1 Lear, no info, and he can't even get the first. Envy take map number 2, 13-11.
My God, I have to bite my words. I said that these 2 maps would go totally one-sided, but we see a 24-round banger being pulled off by Envy. Immortals now a little bit on the back foot. They've lost their map pick. Envy loses out their map pick, but nothing matters at all. It's still a 1-1 scoreline between these 2 teams, and it's what we expected from a grand finals. Although, again, folks, it's for seeding. This is for seeding. These teams are going absolutely nuts trying to get that first seed going into the closed qualifiers. And again, Envy, they pulled every trick in the book to pull that off.
Yeah, I mean, Envy looked spectacular, at least on the offensive side. We talked about that 7-1 lead. It felt like for some time, Envy were just going to continue to push forward and take that victory so confidently. And then Immortals, they themselves strung so many rounds in a row. Insane play from both sides, and nothing to expect. There's no expectations going for it. They've just blown them out of the water. Envy taking Icebox, and then Immortals taking Splits. Bind is a whole nother story now, and boy, this matchup is looking so good right now.
It's looking tight, and ladies and gentlemen, you guys do not want to miss the action that we have for you guys over on Bind. But before we go again, we do have to give a quick shout out to actually a show being put on by NSG. It's none other than our weekly podcast known as Press Forward to Diffuse, hosted by Darth Mike and a whole host of characters. It happens every single Wednesday at 1 p.m. It's your weekly dose of competitive Valorant news. And again, NSG with a whole plethora of shows. Little did I know is that the Valorant one is actually popping at the moment. Again, shoutouts to Darth Mike. Shoutouts to all the people on the show, including Naori. And before we go, again, I just wanted to give a quick thank you to everyone because, again, it is going to be a little bit of a late night because we got already 2 maps down. The score is still tied. We're going to at least a map number 4. Please strap yourselves in, get yourself some snacks, maybe a little bit of a drink. Who knows at this point? We're going to be here for the long haul, and it's going to be entertaining. It's the grand finals here for Valorant Challengers number 1. It's the open qualifier. It's best of 5. VOD of Immortals. They'll be back in just a little bit.
I feel like I need to defend my scene's honor here because this is just turning into a bit of a dog battle.
Like in groups always look.
I'm cutting you off here. I'm cutting you off. Cutting you off. He said G2's winning it. He said G2's winning it.
We need to wait till the next EU tournament, which could be in about 10 years now.
Take it with like a grain of salt.
No,
but
that's
that
no
being
fun.
said,
Take it super literally.
Spike defused.
What sound experience would you like today?
I'll have the fantasy pack.
Good choice.
And could you make it a Cloud 2 wireless?
On his way, sir.
Sounds amazing.